Action! Welcome to episode 25 of Your Average Critics. It's our quarter of a century, and so as a celebration, Joe and Chris decided not to be here.
And Ollie's drinking.
So Ollie is drinking though.
On a Monday night.
Considering
my buzz.
Since episode 1, way back at the end of January,
That's true.
you've been saying that you're going to get the hooch
Yeah, but
out,
that's because,
and now you want the stronger
that's because we
things.
do it on Sundays. I'm like, whoa.
Also on Monday.
Monday's a busy, you gotta like get ready for the week. Monday night, that's it, that's game. We're looking forward to the weekend now.
Right. Well, it's a stripped back podcast today with myself, Obi, and Ollie. So
And we're at Obi's.
we are. Obi is hosting it
Obi's
in his house for the
Palace.
first time.
Jeez.
So we'll tweet a link to his
Where he's
geographical location.
He's jizzed on his chair.
Hey, it's candle wax.
Yeah, candle wax. But yes, so we've recording it on a Monday, and we've all managed to watch episode 6 of Game of Thrones.
Finally, you've watched it.
Some earlier than others.
Yeah, we're fucking pirates, man. We're full of pirates.
Blame HBO, man. Bunch of wankers.
So we will be in spoilerific detail talking about episode 5 and also episode 6. So you have been warned if you haven't watched it yet.
Quickly though,
What are you doing?
like
What are you doing?
this whole leaking business, right?
What's going on?
How does that even like genuinely? How does that even happen?
But the first time it was like hackers though, wasn't it?
Okay, that's fine.
So the first time was hackers.
That's fine.
And they said they were even like, oh, we're going to spoil the ending, like we're going to leak the ending, which you don't want.
Yeah, that's fine. But actually, HBO being like, oh sorry, we accidentally leaked our own episode. How the hell does that even happen?
I don't know.
Surely, like, as working for HBO, whoever sets up the episode and does whatever they do, your first port of command is to release the episode at the time it's supposed to be released.
Someone like accidentally like episode 5 final, and then it's like named
It's
it
like,
wrong.
honestly, it's like if you was working, I don't know, if you're working in a prison, like surely your first port of call would be like, don't let the prisoners escape.
Yeah.
So, like, got prison break and all that.
Maybe he was sending it to someone on email and hit reply all rather than just reply. And so sent it to loads of people.
Yeah, but
Classic office problem.
but I like the fact that there's someone there watching telly at that moment in time. He's like, oh, this is the new Game of Thrones. Record.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I assume it must have been online that they released it on their website or something. But maybe they were supposed to put a preview and they put the entire thing. I don't know.
I don't know.
Nice.
But yeah, that's it, man. It's out. It's
Well,
out.
let's get right into it then. Does anyone actually remember what happens in episode 5?
Eastwatch, wasn't it?
Yes.
When
they
when
travel
ginger-
all over the place in like one episode. It goes from Dragonstone to King's Landing,
Yeah.
King's Landing to what's it called, to all the way up to
Eastwatch.
Eastwatch in the space of about 2 minutes.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing. So you asked on our group chat earlier what the length of time this is covering.
Really unclear.
I
Really
mean,
unclear.
I said it might take a week to get from Dragonstone to Eastwatch, but it's, like you said,
I thought
probably
it's
more than a month.
Yeah.
So this is taken a lot of time, and we also don't know whether.
But you say that, I mean, after this latest episode, you're like, well, how can it possibly a month? Because if they like sent off that Raven,
It must be.
it was like the same day. That was like the same
That's
day.
the thing, it
shit.
must have been ages. Like, even like I was saying earlier, even the Unsullied going from. I looked at the map of Westeros. The Unsullied going from Dragonstone to Castle Rock. They're on like
They've
the
got to
other.
go around
They've
the
got to
whole-
go all the way around,
Yeah.
sailing on a boat. That's gonna take fucking ages.
Yeah.
I saw. Damn it.
I saw like you said, a map of is it Westeros, the whole place?
Yeah.
Where's the Far East? So there was a map, and it was since Hardhome, and it was like where Jon Snow's been, and it's like bam, he's been in King's Landing, now he's up in Winterfell, now he's back over here and over that down, and it's also got the Night King and the Dead Army, and it goes Hardhome, and they've literally moved like 3 millimeters down to Eastwatch.
But my rebuttal to that is, A, are they just waiting that they don't really need to move, and B, I don't think they can
Wait
actually
for what?
for the people to go
waiting for a
north
mate,
of
innit?
north of the wall, because I'm not sure they can pass through the wall.
I thought
can
they could now because Bran touched Bran touched them or something.
See, no one
But do
fucking
they know-
knows.
do they know
No
that? I
one
don't
knows
know.
the logic of this TV show.
I know.
I don't know.
Because
Surely they can just like crash, like, because there's like 3 gates in the wall. They can just like knock down a gate and still walk past. Is it magic?
well, there
Some
is
sort of magic.
Yeah, because Benjen Stark couldn't go back through the wall,
Yeah.
could he?
Or could he not?
No,
No.
that's
Oh,
why he
I wondered
sacrificed.
why he was up there.
Spoiler. That's why he sacrificed himself.
Yeah.
Because he's like, oh, there's not enough time for me to explain that.
Yeah.
That I can't go
And
past
then
war.
there definitely was enough time for him to stay on the horse and go with him.
But he couldn't go past the horse, so it was pointless.
So he'll be like, safe like a busy farewell, safe travels. I'm gonna stay up here. I'm gonna fix myself a lunch, innit?
But back to episode 5.
Right,
So we'll follow on from the end of episode 4. So the big train, the fire
oh
storm.
yes, that's it.
And she burns up Dickon and Randy Charlie.
And Jamie survives.
Yeah. He ended up like
Fucking half a mile down the
meters down the
river.
street.
Yeah, did someone said he ended like however many miles away
Yeah.
from where he. How didn't they swim
That
that
was
far? And they came up and
funny.
as if they just got up from drowning.
Yeah.
I was like, you definitely swam at least half a mile to get away from that burning water. But whatever. And then anyway.
Also, why did they reveal it straight away? Like there was no tension there whatsoever.
This thing, our predictions were
way out.
Way off.
man.
I feel like our prediction would have been better than what they've done.
Yeah, even when because I made the prediction that I thought Gendry may have rode all the way up to Eastwatch. No, he's just gone back to King's Landing.
King's Landing.
Wait,
Well,
what
lots
the
of
fuck's Gendry?
He's
Robert Ruffin's
the guy from Skins.
bastard son.
I don't know. Yeah. The guy who's in the
When,
blacksmith. The blacksmith.
Yeah, what's his face?
Roman.
When Davos was like, yeah, don't tell anyone, Rob Ruffin's bastard, literally the next scene just tells Jon Snow about who he is.
And he's looking at him like, he's fucking sick.
Which is quite fun. That was quite funny, I won't lie. But at the same time, I was like, what are you doing, man? Like, he was on it though. I know we're skipping, but like, I liked how Genji was like, yeah, he didn't even ask any questions. He was like, yeah, let's go. I'm ready. Got my hammer. Let's go.
Yeah. I am kind of surprised that they brought him back. I thought they would just still be rowing,
Yeah.
but yeah, I kind of like that little throwback.
What did you guys think of? So when Daenerys was like to all them lot, like, yeah, bend the knee, and then Sam's dad was like, yeah, I'm not gonna bend the knee, and then
What a lad.
and she burned him and his brother alive.
It was him and his son.
Yeah, his son. Sorry, Sam's brother.
I kind of respect it in a way. Also,
She
think
did give him a choice, to be fair.
yeah. And then jumping forward to episode 6, when Tyrion was like, you should have let them rot in a cell, I was like,
No, but the thing
No.
is, she's like, I'm not like Cersei. I'm not gonna kill you all. Bend the knee, or you're all gonna die.
Yeah.
That's kind of
Contradictory.
counterproductive,
Yeah.
isn't it? That's
Yeah.
like.
And she's wiping out like noble houses, which you kind of need those noble houses to kind of form alliances. Like she
Yeah, but
could've-
not this guy. If this guy didn't want to fucking bend the knee,
No, but
then
she could have
totally
killed.
wipe out the
but
house.
she could have
right?
killed him and kept Dickon as a prisoner, and at least he would be the heir to the Tarly
But
family.
in fairness, now.
Now
Now
Sam
I
Sam
think
is-
Sam's here. Sam and John are
Wait.
bezies, so him and Daenerys and John are bezies, so he'll be like, as Harley's all under
But also now, so in episode 5, Sam left Old Town, didn't he?
Yeah.
So now he's kind
He got
of given
fed
up his claim to being a maester, which means that he could probably take back his
home. He's
yeah.
gonna be told it. Oh yeah, because the Maesters, they didn't tell him
Yeah.
about his
The
dad.
thing
no,
is-
they
or his
didn't,
brother.
did they?
They were
So he
like,
has no idea.
with the Maesters and that, they would obviously like they got because Bran saw all the White Walkers, so he's like send all the Ravens, blah blah blah, which is cool. And then the Maesters got him, and they completely like pretty much like dismissed it as like bollocks basically.
Yeah.
And Sam was like, I feel like Sam didn't put up a hard enough fight to be like, I've seen this, I've killed.
Yeah,
one,
but
blah,
Sam's
blah,
like
blah.
this really like grounded moral
I know.
guy who's like chicken to do
I
anything.
know.
So like stealing loads of books and going off is like
That's
oh
the
my.
most he can do,
Like
yeah.
Sam is like broken the moral code. He could never be Spider-Man. That's it.
What is it with Gilly revealing really important information on the DL?
Yeah.
So like, first of all, she's like, "Oh, what's this pile of dragon glass underneath Dragonstone?" He's like, "What?"
Oh man,
and
that's so funny.
then next she's like, "Oh, something about Rhaegar Targaryen
This is
getting
it,
an
though.
almond," and then
He's like, shut the fuck up,
I'm like,
listen,
bitch,
bitch.
No, no, this
bitch, you can't even read.
I'm gonna complain about this later, but this is just the writing is just so it's just poor. I'm
So-
gonna complain about it in a minute,
She
but
casually throws in
just
that
throws-
Rhaegar
yeah,
Targaryen
just happens
had
to be
his
reading that section of the book.
had his
That's really important.
marriage to Thingy annulled, and then so that the insinuation is that he married Lyanna Stark,
Almost,
and
almost.
therefore that means Jon is legitimately a
Yeah.
Targaryen, and therefore legitimately in line to the throne, even though he's Khaleesi's nephew, because he's male. So yeah, that was really cash.
Man, I could never live in those times.
Why?
I'd end up marrying my cousin or something. I'd be like, you know, you're hot. I don't know the bloodline. It's on.
Fair enough, man. That's the shit that
They're
happens
like,
these days. isn't it?
oh, you're my sister's cousin's uncle's nephew's grandfather. Nice to meet you. and it turns out to be like your secret brother, and you're like, what?
Damn.
To be fair, Tywin
Nothing wrong with that.
Lannister married his cousin.
Yeah.
So they're all products of incest. What was I going to say? Sorry, continue conversation.
But yeah, so she just reveals this like really important information really casually, and I actually had to look up what she meant by that, because to me it wasn't clear. But
When you say look up, you can go on Facebook
well, yeah, or whatever sort of like Den
and
of
see
Geek or
people's
wherever.
comments like, what the fuck?
But I feel like that could have been shown in like a flashback or just told in a better way.
Do you
Rather
think
than,
it was just necessary? Because
I
they
feel like
just
Sam
left
could-
it 100%.
I feel like Sam could just read that himself. I feel like it's the very gimmicky to get Gilly to be, because Gilly doesn't really know what she's reading.
Yeah.
So she's just kind of like saying stuff, and Sam's kind of like he's hearing her, but he's not hearing her. It would have just made more sense for maybe a bit later down the line for him to just come across.
I can't wait for episode 7 for her to be just reading a newspaper and be like, Bran's the Night King? Nah. Just like,
Whoa, that's theory territory. Wait, oh.
But,
Let's carry on episode 5, come on.
yeah, so what else happens in episode 5? Is this
So wait,
is
where,
where,
do we think he's going? Do we think Sam's going home?
uh,
He left the city.
I think he's
might
either
be
going to go home or Winterfell.
Winterfell. Because he wants to see John, I
Does he
think.
know John's there? He must do.
He might, yeah, I
Yeah.
think he would.
And then he
I don't
might
know.
stumble across Jorah again and be like, oh, hello.
Yeah,
Mates.
maybe.
Or is John even going to be in Winterfell? He's not, is he? He's probably going to be in
No,
Dragonstone.
John's going back to King's Landing.
Yeah,
I'm assuming.
Boom.
I'm assuming.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway.
only going to take him about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Pretty quick.
By jet. But
By fucking dragon.
what else happened? Oh, Tyrion. So Tyrion, Davos, and Tyrion and Davos went to King's Landing so that Davos could go and get Gendry, and Tyrion could speak to Jaime about a truce or something.
Yeah. So
while
it
they
was the
meet
secret meeting of
Yeah.
Khaleesi and Cersei to put a ceasefire on their war whilst they sort out
The dead.
the dead
It's
problem.
nice to see that. Like obviously Jaime's angry at Tyrion for killing their dad, rightly so, I suppose. But it's nice to see that they're not like
At each
at,
other's
yeah,
throats.
at the point where like if Jaime sees him and kill him on sight sort of thing. Even though
Yeah.
he did say he was going to kill him, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
I feel like our prediction was much better. That
I think
Jamie
it
would
was
be
as well.
captured.
Yeah, I think it was
but
much
no,
better.
they got away too
But
easily.
yeah, Cersei knew about the whole thing
Yeah.
somehow.
What the hell?
I don't know how.
That was random.
I don't understand why she left him alive.
I don't know. Some part of her.
Don't know.
Part of her little
If she
plan.
wanted to bring down Daenerys, killing her hand is probably, that's killing two birds with one stone. You
Exactly.
weaken Daenerys,
But if she,
and you get revenge
yeah,
on...
but if she does that, she's never going to see Khaleesi. And I think the whole point was that she's like,
to get
Khaleesi down here,
Okay.
and then she's somehow going to weave away, I don't know, either mind tricks or like arrow from the
Okay. So
Ice javelin.
ice javelin, get Khaleesi, she'll blow
what
up.
about Cersei saying that she's pregnant? Do you think she's actually pregnant?
I think that's a ruse. I don't think she is.
You don't think she is?
To get what? To get Jaime on side or?
Yeah, I think she's lying about that.
I don't know. I think she might be, but it might be the death of her. Because the prophecy is only 3 kids, right? Gold, there's a prophecy that she'll have 3 kids, gold will be the crown, gold will be their shroud. So they have blonde hair and they'll die. And obviously that happened to Tommen, Myrcella and Joffrey. Or were Tommen and Myrcella twins? They're not.
Very
No.
low life expectancy in this world.
Yeah, I know.
Don't
I
be
feel
royal.
like Marcella might have been older than Tommy.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure.
I think it's ironic how nowadays you got royals living, twice 2 lifetimes.
Yeah.
Queen's never gonna die. She's still going. She's gonna go on forever.
Crap, I forgot to say again. Sorry.
So do you think she's pregnant?
No.
We don't.
No. I think it's
You sure about that?
I think she doesn't want Jaime to waver, so she's saying like if I tell him I'm pregnant then he'll back me 100%.
They've really got to worry about this storyline now and the timeline because if it does take months or weeks to travel to these places,
Baby bump.
exactly.
yeah.
Next fucking episode, she's gonna be like, "Oh,
No.
can't bend over."
I would
And if it's not, Jamie's like, "It's been 9 months. What the fuck
I would
is
much
going on?"
prefer. I would honestly much prefer if the next episode we got to King's Landing and Cersei had the baby bump, because then it would let me know how much time has passed roughly. Because right now I have absolutely no idea, so I need some sort of.
Kid's gonna be 14.
In it. Imagine we get there, the kid's like born. Right? But was it you saying like, wouldn't it be funny if the kid came out and he was a midget? he was a dwarf. That would be so funny. But I don't know how you'd be able to tell. But so, what else happened in episode 5?
Something about Arya and Sansa.
Littlefinger. So Littlefinger's planting the.
Planting the seed.
The
So is this
oh,
where
yeah.
Arya followed?
She goes into his room.
Oh no. This was following that, because at the end of episode 4 we were all like, did Arya fall for it?
No,
That's episode 5.
Episode 5, yeah.
Because
Shit.
so she's following Littlefinger, but Littlefinger's following her.
Yeah.
So he's
Which
following
I feel like as a faceless person, she should kind of be like, because she's kind of basically like a ninja, so she should like know what.
Yeah, but that was the argument, was that, oh, is she actually doing it knowing
Yeah,
that little
I
thing
hope
was
she
watching?
is. I hope that.
But we found that out in episode 6, didn't we?
Well, that she's not.
Well,
She's a fucking retard.
I don't know, because again, it's still like
I'm getting
like,
on Arya's back in a minute.
fucking word games that
Yeah.
she's playing with, like someone's getting
getting
a
on her
knife
back.
out, and
I'm-
she's like, I could stab you
I'm
right
getting on her.
now.
Oh, honestly, can I get? I'm just
Go
going
on,
to it. I'm going
go
to
on.
now.
The Arya
So,
agenda.
Arya, yeah, okay.
Oh, he's
so
thrown down.
you're supposed to be this a faceless whoever, blah 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 blah. Cool, right? I mean, you and Sansa were never really cool to begin with. You've been separated for ages. You're reunited. 2 episodes ago, you was hugging and stuff. Last episode, you were a bit iffy. Now this episode, she's gone full sociopath. Like, yeah, I'm basically I'm gonna get my knife. I'm gonna stab you. I could stab you if I wanted to, but I'm not going to.
And
Here you go. Here's the knife.
like,
Bye.
I will wear your face and be you.
She left a bag of faces underneath her bed. Why? In the last episode, in episode 5, right, she had to go do bare sleuthing, yeah, to get Littlefinger's scroll. It was in the mattress. Even I wouldn't have thought to look in the mattress. It was in the mattress. But then someone just strolls into the room and just like looks down for 2
under
seconds.
the bed?
Oh, here's this bag. Oh, and it's full of faces. What kind of bullshit is that?
Yeah, but
And
maybe
then she walks to the
she
room.
wanted. Maybe
No.
it's like, again, it's a
But
mind
why?
trick. Maybe she wanted her to
For
find
what reason?
it. Because she was like, let's play a game, the one that I used to play when she was.
No, but why is she
getting
turning into stabby murderous Ara? She's not been like this at any point up until now. Now she's been a weird, mysterious, murdery sort of girl.
I was watching
It
like
makes no sense.
like some guy's review of it, and he was like, oh, so it's like she's telling her all this about like how she could kill her and get away with it, sort of thing.
Okay.
But then she gives her the knife, doesn't she?
Yeah.
So she gives her the knife. So the guy was like, oh, so this is like, instead of the words, think of the the actions mean more than words.
Okay.
And giving her the knife is like the trust. So I've said all this, which is totally true, but I'm not gonna do it, sort of thing.
I could kill you, but I won't.
Yeah, here's the knife though that I would kill you with.
She's probably got another knife somewhere.
That's what I'm saying. And she even if someone's got enough, she can fuck her up anyway because she knows all the moves.
How long do you think Littlefinger's gonna last?
I don't know.
I don't really care for him
I
anymore.
don't think
Neither do
I
I.
don't think anyone trusts him.
I
to
really
the
like-
point that he's kind of
The thing
obsolete
is,
now, isn't he?
Sansa does seem to trust him. She asks
This
him
is
for
what-
advice.
I'm hoping it's a ruse. I'm hoping that she's kind of trying to play him, but I don't know how. I don't know how she
I don't
would be.
seems
think
quite
she's
gullible.
smart.
She
enough.
seems really reliant on what he thinks.
Yeah.
Even when he was like saying about Brienne, she sent Brienne to
King's Landing.
To King's Landing.
Yeah, yeah.
So now you've got like this woman who's sworn to protect you. Now she's gone, and all you've got is Littlefinger, who you know you can't trust, and she said multiple times you can't trust him, and you've just taken probably the one person who you absolutely know that you can trust.
Yeah.
And you send her off to King's Landing for however long.
I take issue
I'm
with
trying to
the scroll as the
igniting-
focal
yeah.
point for their conflict,
Yeah.
because Arya's a smart person. She knows that like a 12-year-old Sansa, or however old she was,
Yeah.
is being coerced and manipulated by Cersei, and the fact that she's basically a prisoner to the Lannisters,
Sansa even said that.
betrothed to Joffrey,
Yeah.
who so Arya can surely figure out
Yeah.
that it's not, she didn't mean it.
Exactly.
Like, and she's like, oh, you betrayed our family. I was younger than you. Even Lyanna Stark, or the Mormont, is more mature than you are. Fine. Like, there are people at different stages of maturity, people with different strengths. Even back then, Arya was a stronger female character, or just a stronger character than Sansa was. So you can't. I just don't understand how Arya's been manipulated into causing the conflict there.
Do you want to tell you how she's been manipulated?
Okay.
Bad writing.
Snap.
That is very true.
I was saying to Glenn, I'm afraid to go back and rewatch, just because you'd see the kids like 10 years older, 10 years younger.
What, season 1 you mean?
Yeah,
Why?
Because I hate that. I hate going back. So have you ever watched Modern Family?
Yeah.
And you see like Luke and he's all grown up, and to go back you're like, oh, this is really weird. Like he's got his high pitched voice and his like baby face.
I liked his one.
It's really what he's look. And I saw the fight scene with Ned Stark and Jamie Lannister. And Jamie's got this like Prince Charming head of hair.
Yeah. So even Tyrion turn season 1 is so weird.
Yeah.
And now they're both fucking homeless.
But yeah. She said Ned Stark is homeless.
Well, no,
dead.
Jamie and Tyrion, they now look like they've been through fucking hell and back, haven't they?
Right,
Yeah, they pretty much have.
So, basically, it's really annoying me. I wrote it down, but it's on my phone, so I can't grab it. But it's this whole Sansa Arya conflict. I really hope that they're both just in on something together. And
I don't think they are.
And this is the thing, I don't think that, because it's not really, I don't know.
Well,
it's just really getting on my nerves.
There's one episode left and the trailer's out.
Don't tell me what's
You haven't seen the trailer?
I don't want to know what's in it.
Well, in the trailer, there was
I just don't want to know what's in it.
Okay. What is
I don't want to know.
in the
I
trailer?
don't want to know what is in the trailer or what is in the trailer. Thank you very much.
Wow, alright.
Thanks,
Alright.
I've seen it, so you can message me.
Yeah, talk to me.
I was just going to
Don't
say.
talk to me. No, we're not.
Okay, so that's that plot line until up to the point we've seen it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Beyond the Wall. So not only does it take almost like 35 minutes for the band of brothers to walk to this random rock in the middle of
It took them 2 minutes to get to fucking.
it takes 35 minutes or so for them to get there. It takes Gendry 35 seconds to get back.
Literally.
So,
How does you're the fastest.
how does he know where he's going?
This is what I'm saying. Gendry's never been beyond the wall, so how the hell does he know where
He
he's
just
going?
goes, "Hey Siri, get me back to Eastwatch."
And they took his hammer. I thought when they took his hammer, I thought he was definitely gonna at least either encounter a White Walker or he was gonna die.
That was in the trailer, that the Hound was carrying the hammer, so loads of people are like, well, he's going to die. Because not all of them are going to survive.
Yeah.
And the only people who fucking die are fucking nobodies.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so Thoros died, which was the thing that I saw the spoiler of on the thread, but I was like, I really don't care.
Yeah.
He must have had the most boring death in the entire show. I mean, he was bitten by a bear. I was like, oh, maybe he'll die. No, he dies in his sleep. I was like, that is a really bad death.
Froze to death or something.
Yeah. Plus, no one gives a fuck about Thoros and me. But yeah, I find it kind of hard to believe that Gendry doesn't encounter anybody on the way back, considering that like they travelled quite a distance, and also the fact that only when he's 4 meters away from the gate does he collapse with exhaustion. It's like, And they sent off with no supplies, like no food. Like they didn't say,
we don't know.
Look for the North Star and head east.
We have no idea how far it is or how long he's been running for.
I mean, I do like the efficiency of them moving about, but
I don't. It's too efficient.
Well, I mean, that's what I was going to say. I like the
Germans.
Like a Volkswagen. It's too efficient. I need a Skoda. It's too efficient. Oh, it's Skoda German as well.
I don't know.
It's Japanese, isn't it?
Is it? I have no idea.
It's got one of those little V's on the top of the S. It sounds Slavic or something. Anyway, if you know, tweet us at YC17.
You're Scandinavian, not
Fiat's highly inefficient. I need a Fiat. I don't need a Skoda.
Peugeot.
Yeah.
Okay, so then they get
Make it go like the French.
So they get stranded on this like rock in the middle of a frozen lake. They're surrounded by whites and White Walkers. And
I want to ask, what's the difference between the guys who are actually white and they're like dressed in armour, as opposed to like the just the dead?
So the White Walkers
are they like the original?
Yeah, so they're like the people who can turn the dead into like reanimated people.
Okay.
Whereas the zombies, quote unquote, are just corpses that they have brought back to life.
Because I'm thinking like, is that a finite number of whites that you can have?
I don't.
Because otherwise, surely you'd want them all to be doing that, right? Just raising the dead.
Well, yeah, because there was that point where I think it was series 2 or 3 where they had that little baby from Cruster's Keep and they gave it to the White Walker and he touched it and it had blue eyes. So you assume he becomes a White Walker. So I guess.
I wonder where that kid is now.
Yeah.
But I mean, for the thing that I'm thinking of is that that white died. And then it's 10 or however many followers.
Oh no, that's the White Walker. The White Walker is the blue.
Yeah. Sorry, is that?
And then the white is the zombie.
Oh right, okay.
It's WIGHT.
So the White Walker, so he got like cut in half, died, and then the followers all like collapsed.
Okay.
So my point is, surely if the Night King just like made them all White Walkers,
Yeah.
then when one dies, Olin, it would only be a chain of a smaller number as opposed to like fucking.
There must be some sort of
Yeah.
reason that you can't turn them all into. I don't know, but Game of Thrones.
It's not thinking about it, mate.
Well,
It's not thinking
that's what I'm
about
saying.
it.
So
You said this episode annoyed you.
it did annoy me.
Is it because like obvious things that people shouldn't do or should
Yes.
do?
Oh my god, can I go through it?
Go
Is
for
that
it,
right?
mate, go for it.
Cool. Alright, so this whole
I'm gonna crack a new one.
Go ahead, mate.
Oh,
The whole expedition to Beyond the Wall is bullshit in the first place. I can deal with it, but it's bullshit in the first place, right?
Yeah.
Like that whole trip is literally a suicide mission.
yeah.
I can live with it.
Suicide Squad.
Did you see that thing? It's like
People say there's a
Game of
suicide-
Thrones is like better Suicide Squad than DC.
But yeah, that's cool. I can live with that. That's fine. But so when they get surrounded on the ice, yeah, and they're just there for I don't know how long it's passed, maybe a day or 2 days or 3 days, I don't know. And the Hound just starts to start throwing rocks,
Oh,
and
mate.
I'm just like, this is so dumb. Like no one would do this. Like this is so stupid. They throw the rocks, then obviously.
Mate, throwback to for Fellowship of the Ring, where Pippin's throwing rocks in the lake. Don't disturb the water.
But then the thing, the White Walkers are smart enough to realise that they shouldn't have kept running because everyone was falling into the water, and then so they stopped waiting for the ice to harden. Then because of that, he threw the fucking rock for shits and giggles because he just wanted to.
I like his reaction. Fuck.
He's such an idiot. And so yeah, then when they realised that it's all that it's solid and they can run him, they start attacking him. Cool. This was a little thing that annoyed me. They were surrounded and Jon Snow was like, fall back. And I was like, fall back to where, bro? You're literally surrounded. You can't fall back. I was like, whatever, fine.
They got lucky. They got
did.
so lucky.
And then the bit where they were on the cliff, yeah.
Right.
You know they were on the little cliff. I think someone had just died. Someone just got chucked fallen off
Oh,
the
yeah,
cliff
yeah,
and
fair,
died.
yeah.
And these White Walkers are all climbing up on top of each other trying to get to the top of the cliff. And I was like, these White Walkers were smart enough 20 minutes ago to know, okay, I'm going to fall into this water, so we're just going to wait for it to solidify. They're smart enough to know that. They're smart enough to know when the rock comes onto the water and the water doesn't crack, that means they can walk on it. But they're not smart enough to be like, let's just go up this cliff one at a time and we're probably going to kill them. Because there's
True.
hundreds of them.
I tell you, I'm going to go back and say that when the Hound, because the Hound had the hammer at this point, and he does crack the ice at one point.
I was just like,
it
keep
annoys
hitting
me.
it.
Why does he not just do that all the way around? Because then you got a barrier, innit?
I know.
So,
Not thinking in the moment, are they?
They just needed to create this like really artificial situation, perilous situation.
exactly. So, I've got a couple more things I'm just going to complain about.
Go
But,
on, mate, go on, lift them up.
yeah. So, Daenerys took all 3 dragons. Why did you take all 3 dragons? You needed 1, maybe 2 max, but leave 1 behind.
Good
At least-
thing that she did, though.
I mean, no, but at least it's a contingency plan. At least leave 1 behind.
I mean,
That's fair.
every mission she's ever done has only been with Drogon.
Thank you.
Like the other two, Viserion
Exactly.
and Rhaegar, have done fuck all
Oh.
since they were born.
And that knobhead had to go and get himself killed. So, the Night King is super powerful, and I mean, that I don't mind. Just chuck the spear into the air and just like, fuck it, javelin 100 meters. Whatever. That's fine. You can kill that dragon. That's cool.
He's got a fucking big arm,
yeah,
to
he's
throw it
got
like
an
that.
absolute cannon on him.
Didn't know Bran could throw that hard.
But the one thing that's super annoying for that, and I put it in caps in the group chat, they can all see the Night King, yeah? That dragon can breathe fire. Burn the fucker to bits. At least try to burn. They were burning all the whites and all them lot,
Yeah.
but they didn't even attempt to burn the White Walkers.
I know.
They didn't even try. And I was literally just like, obviously for writing purposes, you can't have them die now. That's I mean, I kind of get it, but I'm just like,
But
common sense.
logically,
Logically, common
yeah.
sense was saying like, okay, maybe we should try and burn this guy.
Yeah.
And even Jon Snow deciding to, instead of getting on the dragon and then flying off, he decided to try and fight off and try and
Yeah, he
try and go
literally ran
suicide.
about 50 metres to fight
yeah,
more of them.
to
I'm
try and
like,
go suicide mission.
So were you not like a little bit like on the edge of your seat, tense, clenching your ass,
Nope.
when the ginger guy was like,
Oh,
gonna,
okay.
gonna die?
Yeah, I
was
thought he
like,
was gonna die. Yeah,
no.
that's a fair point.
And he's like, gonna have great big fucking giant children with a great big blonde.
That's a fair point, actually. I did
He's
think he was
fucking
gonna
cool.
die. I thought he was gonna die.
I also thought that so number one, when the Night King had the other spear, I was like, because Jon Snow's all out by himself, is he just gonna throw it at Jon?
he should have done.
I was like, ooh. I was a bit tense for that. And then when John went under, I was like, oh my god, as if this is how.
I'll talk about what I've hoped would happen in a sec. But I kind of don't you think that the whole imagery of them on the rock being surrounded is kind of quite like how Daenerys was when she was being mobbed by the people she set free in Marine. Everyone's like Misa, and she's in the centre, and everyone's like
season 5.
No, I think it's like season 3 or something like that.
I can't remember.
And then also Battle of the Bastards. There's also that imagery of everyone being circled and some person.
Yeah, I don't know. It always goes back to Lord of the Rings, though, doesn't it? You know, Return of the King, where
no one cares about Lord of the Rings, Ollie.
And they're surrounded by orcs outside of Mordor.
Yo, shut
I
up.
literally don't know what you're on about.
Just saying, mate. Just saying.
No one cares about Lord of the Rings.
But yeah, so it was really artificially created, like perilous situation.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like throughout the seasons they've all felt a lot more organic than that. It was kind of like, how do we get John and maybe one or two other people in a situation where they're near the Night King and Daenerys has to find them. I kind of feel like if they wanted to capture one of the Whites to bring back, they could have just got Daenerys or even just borrowed one of the dragons, flown over there, which never, incidentally takes about 2 minutes. Fly over there, just pick one up with its claws and fly back, rather than.
I didn't even think
or
of that.
not even having to collect one, just fly her over there so she can see for herself what it's like.
But the reason they're bringing one back is obviously for Cersei to say that that's the enemy.
Cersei knows that she's got.
Cersei don't care.
So what's his?
It's a mountain.
The mountain. He's undead, so she knows that undead people can exist. So this whole thing is bullshit. And I'm saying this whole expedition was bullshit in the first place.
Would you have been like, so if they had a whole season to do like the last few episodes?
Yeah.
Would you think that would have been better, or like 3 episodes to do the last episode of them going to the Army of the Dead to collect ones and then come back? Like,
I would appreciate it more. Yeah.
3 episodes.
It was,
or something like that.
stretched out a little bit.
I mean, I was saying to Obi earlier, like when they ended episode 5 with them going past the wall, I was like a bit anticlimactic because you've seen loads of people do that.
Yeah.
Like they do that every other episode in the first 5 series. It would have been more a better ending if it ended with them on the rock. So I don't know, you had to have 1 or 2 more episodes in there, but yeah, have the beginning of one episode being them go from the wall and then ends with them on the rock, and then the next episode would be Daenerys saving them. That would be more like tension. Also, what is it? I don't really care enough for the other characters if they die, like Beric, Dondarrion, not the Hound.
I don't know who. Oh, I care about the eye patch. I care about the Hound.
Oh yeah,
what? Jorah Mormont. I'm like,
I like Jorah.
Take him or leave him. I like Tormund, but it was just like, it just felt really kind of contrived. And
I feel like the episode was just plot driven. Yeah. It was kind of like, okay, so we need this to happen, so this is how we're going to make it happen. Regardless of how we think these characters would normally act in these situations, we're just going to make sure that they do this, so this happens.
They're fucking good fighters, though. Well, these guys are like probably well trained, and they're like fighting off like a horde. Who did you think was going to die?
I thought Tormund was going to die. Especially when
who was that?
Ginger guy,
Tormund.
Oh.
Sorry. Especially when he was getting dragged into
I was like,
okay, he's a goner.
Yeah.
Because he was chatting earlier about Marion Brienne
I'm tough.
as well.
Yeah,
I was thinking, okay,
the love story. Oh, she dies now. Oh.
But too much she's going to King's Landing now. So.
Yeah, I don't care about her. He's cool.
But then also, like, when Jon decides not to get on Drogon and fly away, and then he falls into the ice, I was kind of hoping that the third dragon, which seemed to disappear, would like come down and swoop and save him. I thought that'd be cool, or that he would just fly it back, because they one of them dies, Drogon flies off, and then the other one just disappears. Yeah. I was like, where's he gone?
And then he just obviously Uncle Benjen comes to rescue him, which
that really annoyed me
because it's just so convenient.
It's just a Deus Ex Machina moment where.
Oh. Spun me. That's some great wordage right there. Deus Ex Machina. I didn't just know what that meant to know.
No, it means God in the machine. Yeah. It's a situation.
I didn't just know what that meant to know.
It's a kind of media term where like your hero is in such a perilous situation that the only way that they can get out of it is by some really kind of miracle.
And I googled Deus Ex Machina today. and the first thing that came up was 3 articles about Game of Thrones.
Really?
Yeah. So that proves your
But
point.
there are 2 Deus Ex Machina moments in that. The first one is when Daenerys goes to save them,
Mm-hmm.
and then the second one is Benjen. I mean,
So do you think Benjen should have been there from like the beginning?
but he just.
They could have met him a bit earlier,
I mean,
maybe.
not
I
only
don't
does
know.
he randomly appear to save Bran, like in series 5,
Yeah, 6.
6,
Yeah.
just randomly appears and then fucks off again,
Yeah.
and then it's like, oh, maybe we need to give this character some closure, so we'll call him. Oh, fuck off.
I want to know a bit more about what happened to him though, because he's kind of just like, oh yeah.
He's dead.
Well, he's dead now.
No, but he
But-
dies like.
Yeah, like half
and-
dozen children for us. Yeah, I just want to know a bit more because he's kind of like he's quite vague about it. But
Yeah.
he's dead now, so whatever.
I was just it was. Thing is, I actually liked the episode, but when you kind of break it down in terms of storytelling, it's quite frustrating and quite sloppy.
Yeah,
And I think
it's really sloppy.
And I know we've spoken about it a few times before, but I do think it's because they're not going from actual source material.
Yeah, I agree. 100%.
So George R.R. Martin, like the books are dense, like they're all like 600 or so pages. So the way he builds up his situations, like they're really well thought out, and it's like, you know, this is happening because of this, cause effect. Whereas because I mean, he's told them what the end game is, but he hasn't written, you know, they don't have actual pages to go from. And where the writing's got worse has been from series 5, which is basically where they really did detour from the books. And yeah, so it's kind of like, whereas beforehand, you know, conflicts between, I don't know, Ned and Jamie, it's like, you know that Ned is in Peter Baelish's brothel, he's talking to Catelyn, but you know also that Jamie's also about to leave King's Landing to go and fight somewhere else, and then there's a natural organic meeting between them outside. It's not like all of a sudden Jamie materializes out of thin air and like it's like conflict,
But like I think one of the Game of Thrones producers, something like that, because people were like complaining about, and I think rightly so, about like just how timelines don't match up. And they were saying, like, oh yeah, not everything Game of Thrones happens concurrently, blah blah blah. But I was like, you've only just introduced that like rule, inverted commas, in like this season, because that hasn't been a problem in any of the past seasons. In none of the past seasons have I ever thought, oh, this is happening a bit quickly, because everything I think was paced out really well.
Yeah.
Whereas now, like one of my main complaints is that this season could have easily been 10 episodes, because the amount of time that has passed, or the amount of stuff they've gotten through in the first 6 episodes. 6? Yeah, in these 6 episodes, I think it's just ridiculous. They definitely could have added 3 episodes and had more than enough content.
there's also a lot of like major characters that you don't see for at least 2-3 episodes. So there's been barely anything about Bran. Since episode 2, Theon and Yara have had fuck all to do.
Oh, yeah.
It's very Daenerys
And Jon.
orientated. And this was your point, that you said she was going to die this season.
Well, I think it's just so focused on her. Like every series that I can think of where one character really stood out as being like had a good trajectory. So obviously Ned Stark series 1 dies. Even Robb, he was a big focus of series 3, dies.
Joffrey.
Tyrion's probably the exception to the rule.
Yeah. Even Tywin, Ramsay Bolton, exactly. You kind of feel when someone's getting that much attention, something's going to happen to them.
Fair point.
So, I don't know.
Could be any of them though, really, because like you're saying, like Jamie's had a lot, Cersei's had a lot, Tyrion's had a lot, Jon Snow's also had a lot. So it could be any of those.
Yeah, I feel like it would be more of a shock though if Daenerys died, even though I do think she will, because I think it's too obvious that she will become queen.
She better have a good way out.
Yeah, hopefully it's better than Thoros of Myr.
Yeah.
It would also be quite disappointing if Cersei dies from childbirth or something like that. I'd literally reanimate her just to kill her again.
That'd be funny. Cersei needs to live.
I don't know.
So at the end of the last episode was the dragon coming back to life as
shit.
I'm confused as some sort of dragon that breathes ice or that breathes blue fire.
Blue
because
ice, white
it's
dragon,
blue.
man.
Oh, mate.
Oh my god.
But I'm sure it's going to bring ice.
Yeah.
You
Make
think
it
so?
function.
Because the whole book series is called Fire and
Song
Ice,
of
right?
Ice and Fire, yeah.
Ice and Fire.
Double meaning.
Oi.
But also George R.R. Martin wrote a short story which came out before Game of Thrones called The Ice Dragon, which is about a little girl who befriends an ice dragon. But the ice dragon was there, it was the good guy, and it was there to stop the fire-breathing dragon. So, and
So-
there have been mentions throughout the books.
So now the Night King is a
But-
fucking dragon.
Yeah.
He's definitely getting over the wall.
Well,
No matter what fucking magic there is, just like, psh,
I mean,
it's coming
I
down.
mean,
It's coming down.
at this point, the Night like at this point, the Night King should win hands down.
He's
Like,
boss.
And,
I'm like,
and why would Cersei... Seriously, why would Cersei at any point be like, nah, you know what, I'm going to cease war?
Yeah.
Like, fuck off, she's at the bottom of the fucking continent, right?
Yeah.
So she's like, nah, I'm gonna let
But
everyone
then-
else
but
burn.
if I
And I burn last.
the Ice Dragon can get there in about 12 minutes, so he'll burn her he'll burn her before the intro's finished.
The Night King could probably kill her with a javelin from where he's standing.
It is.
Just lob it
But
like
no,
400 miles.
Just go with the wind.
So I should quickly chat about one thing that kind of just minorly annoyed me, but obviously because I'm thinking about how much time has passed, it might not be a big issue. But when Jon and Daenerys they're on the boat back to wherever the fuck they're going, and
their sexy
he
time-
said, yeah, he
sexy-
says he's
sexy
gonna,
moment.
he says he's gonna bend the knee and whatnot, and he called her Danny, and she was like, oh. I don't think anyone's called me Danny for ages, like not since my brother. Da, da, da. And I was thinking like, in terms of Jon, yeah, like, are you two really like, are you two mates like that? Like, if I,
She's gonna be like, alright, J-boy.
but this is what I'm saying. So like, how this like he just calls her Danny like out of the blue.
Yeah.
Like he's never heard anyone else call her Danny, and he doesn't know like that she likes that
all
her
the
name to be
writers
shortened.
do. They like, oh, so Danny's gonna be like the main protagonist in this, and that's why I don't think that they're gonna kill her off. I think they like her too much.
Yeah, but everyone liked Ned Stark. Sorry,
Don't you?
and I keep bringing it up. But,
Yeah, but it's Sean Bean. It's written in the stars.
yeah.
why would you even, you know?
That annoyed me. It just didn't make sense to me.
But also, then who is it that says to her? Was it Tyrion says to her, he's quite clearly in love with you or
Yeah.
something? So do you reckon they're gonna get married?
Probably, but where did this clear love come from? They only. I mean, I get it for story purposes. That's fine.
She's
But they've
hot, he's
and
hot.
she is, and he
Both
is. That's
powerful.
cool. But they've only showed like maybe 3 scenes of them together where they actually seem like intimate.
Yeah, but again,
Not even really
you
intimate,
don't know
just looking at each other.
how much time has passed.
True.
So
Which is
he might have just like walked past her and she was like getting out the shower. Boom. He's
Yeah.
like, yeah,
true. I don't know.
nice.
Do you know what? I want Davos to win it all. Fuck everybody else. Quick King Davos.
No,
man.
you know who I'm waiting for is that who's the guy who had the army and he burned his little baby girl
What,
alive?
Stannis?
I'm
Fuck Stannis.
I'm waiting for him to come back.
What? So I'm going to come back. So I'm going to chop his fucking head off in free time.
Don't like him.
He's a twat.
He's definitely dead.
I hate him. We never saw him die though.
Yeah, he'll
that's
come back,
true.
mate.
Maybe he's a what's it called? White
Why?
Walker.
Yeah. I was gonna say something else, but I have.
Well, I'll jump in. So I was screw you guys. So I was doing a little bit of research and I was checking out how much money the actors are making.
Yeah.
And it's ridiculous.
Go on.
Because it's so, you know, like the Friends were making like $1 million per episode.
Yeah.
That is pretty much what they're making, but like higher up. I don't know how reliable the sources are because I checked out quite a couple. But you got like the main ones: Jon Snow, Daenerys, Cersei, Jaime. They're getting, and I think Tyrion as well. They're all getting over $2 million an episode.
Dollars.
Yeah, that's the thing though. Friends were like 22 episodes, weren't it? So you're only 22 million for that series.
But my point is that, like, first of all, even if you're someone like Bran, who has a shit role, I mean, back in season 4 or 5, he had actually quite a few episodes, and he, like, you know, with the whole Hodor, people are like, oh my god, this amazing episode. So he's still getting a fuck ton of money. I'd be like, mate,
Sweet.
Sean Bean is just so screwed over. You want to be like Jon Snow was like from the fucking beginning, and now he's made it how many episodes?
Yeah.
Laughing.
Maybe that's why there aren't many characters. You know, they only have like 2 or 3 episodes a series.
Because they
It's
can't
like-
afford it
it's like,
all.
fucking
Yeah,
hell,
to be
if we
fair.
put Bran in this episode, that's another 2 million we've got to pay.
They've got 4 characters.
Yeah, well, it would just. I think again, going with you two, it would be poor storytelling, writing, if they were to just introduce a new person. Now towards the end, it's like, what? Who?
Okay, so is there any point us theorising about it? Because it's just going to be dispelled within about 5 minutes of the next episode.
I mean, I don't really want to.
Well, we've seen the trailer for the next episode,
I haven't.
but trailers can be very deceiving.
Yeah, they certainly can. It's good though. Is it as
Doesn't
good
give away
as-
a lot. Doesn't
No,
really give
I
away
mean this series. Is it as good as series 6?
No.
It's too short.
No.
It's too short.
I just think in general, I think this is kind of low down for me in terms of my favourite series. I feel like I prefer season 6, season 4, season 1, season 3 to this.
5.
No, 2 and 5 are not my favourites. Oh, what season was Battle of Blackwater? That was
Yes.
pretty-
2.
That's 2.
Storytelling.
I might go back to season 7 too. To be honest, because I haven't really enjoyed any episode so far. I mean, the episodes are good. No, the episodes are good, yeah, but there's not any episode so far that I'm like, oh my god, these are sick. So like for me, for season 6 for example, I thought
I'm sorry, but I've got to disagree. The battle with the fight, the
But I don't
train,
care.
that was a
But this is the thing.
sick
So
episode.
that's fine, and like subjective opinions and everything like that. But for
Yeah,
most,
but I'm right.
cool. But for most people, yeah, as soon as a dragon starts breathing fire, everyone's like, "Oh my god, that's so cool! This episode was so cool." But I don't care. But I said again, I don't care about the dragons at all. Like literally, I just don't care about them. I literally, if they were all to drop dead, I wouldn't give a shit. Like so, for me, dragons have no impact in whether or not I think the episode was good or not. And I just didn't think the episode was all that great. But I think for episode 4, I think because of the fact that it got leaked and I watched it, I think I was expecting something more than what it actually was, which was still a really good episode. Like, don't get me wrong, all these episodes are very, very good, but no episode for me. So like for me, season 6, Hold the Door, Battle of the Bastards, and
The last one.
the last episode, they were all like they're probably all in like my top episodes of Game of Thrones ever. Whereas no episode of this season is in my top, isn't anywhere near my top.
I think
top favourites.
there's kind of like a pyramid for me of quality in this series, and it's the set pieces in this series. I think are
Everything's a pyramid for you. House of Cards is a pyramid of cards.
because I'm Illuminati, mate.
House of Cards, pyramid of cards.
Fuck you.
I'm pyramid with an eye in it, so I'm Illuminati. But no. So of the set pieces in this are one of the best throughout the entire series, I think. Like so, you know, obviously, like you're saying, the bit with the dragons and the train. Even when he was pulling the corpse of the dragon out of the water, that I was like, oh shit. So I've had a couple of oh shit moments, but it's been points of episodes rather than episodes themselves.
Yeah.
Whereas, like you're saying, Battle of the Bastards, the last episode of series 6, when Cersei blows up Baelor's temple and Tommen commits suicide. Literally, that was boom, 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 boom. That episode was so tense. That episode as a whole was probably my favourite. Whereas there are points of these episodes in series 7 that are really good.
Well, you know what? That episode was ridiculously good.
You are wrong.
That episode was so good.
Actually, I need to.
Oh my god, his hand's going in his trousers.
Hell yeah. Whereas I think that the pacing of this series has been a bit off.
Well,
It's kind of been like, you know, action, then a lot of kind of talking, and then more action. And I just want to do this to you, Ollie.
Shame.
How much was that? He brought it out. I like that.
But anyway, so now the Night King's got a dragon. The prophecy of the dragon was always that the dragon had 3 heads.
Yeah.
So everyone assumed it'd be Daenerys, Jon, and Tyrion. But now the Night King has a dragon. Do we think that he is part of this prophecy? Like, which would maybe
Should we
assume...
bring in Joe's theory?
I mean, go for it. I mean,
Well,
Joe's
you
theory
finish-
was basically
you
an
finish that
appropriation
sentence.
of...
yeah, finish
Finish
what
that
you
sentence.
Well, I was going to say, if the Night King is part of the prophecy, does that mean, therefore, that the Night King is a Targaryen?
I'm here for that theory. That's cool, but what Targaryen would he be?
Oh, I haven't got a clue.
I don't know.
Could
I
be a
think
Mad
prophecies, it's not a thing.
So Joe had a theory, which is basically an appropriation of
To
a
be
video
fair-
that you posted on our group.
Yeah,
chat.
no, there is that theory. I've definitely heard of the theory you just said. Sorry, because I was thinking about it in my mind, and it said that the Night King is what's the word for the one that is promised? Azar something. Isn't it?
Azar Asai or something.
That's the one.
yeah.
Yeah. And they're saying that the Night King was that, but then I don't really get who's. I don't know. Maybe.
Isn't he a comedian?
maybe he's
Azari,
who was Rhaegar's other son? Maybe he's him.
don't know.
No, but the Night King's the first. Well, we're assuming the Night King's the first man, the first White Walker ever. So it's that geezer who was in Bran's prediction.
Yeah.
So we have no idea who the hell that
That
is.
geezer. What, the old guy?
No, in the one with the long, he had long hair. There's children in the forest stabbed him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're assuming that's the Night King.
That is, yeah. The
So,
beginning,
but we don't know how that is. Obviously, there's a theory that that's Bran.
So yeah, that's what Joe's been going on about, and I saw because I was like YouTubing it. Well, I think he put a link on, didn't he?
Yeah.
And it
No,
was
that was me. Sorry, like last week. Yeah.
And it was like, so that episode where Bran becomes like the three-eyed raven or whatever, when he's like having that vision, and he like first of all he gets touched by the Night King, but also like the camera angles. So when the guy is getting stabbed, Bran's like, he's like,
that was cool. When I watched that video, that was so cool. I didn't notice that when I was watching the episode.
So Joe thinks he's the Night King.
I think he could be the Night King as well. I think kind of sick if he was. And like, so I was thinking.
No, it's not good. Time travel is not fucking
but
good.
I was thinking,
unless it's only time travel and nothing else. Now he's like, oh, my mind is like, it is on fire enough. Now I need some serious meds.
I said to Glenn, do you remember in season 1 when an assassin tried to kill Bran after he fell out the window? I was saying like there was a theory saying that maybe that was Bran from the future sending someone to kill himself, so none of this ever happened.
John Connor.
But that's the Terminator, man.
Yeah, the same kind of thing, isn't it? Come from the future.
Oh yeah, it's confusing.
It is.
But that's what I was thinking. So like, I mean, it'd be too cyclical if. So are we assuming that the first man who gets turned into the Night King, like,
is Bran, right?
Well,
is it like his descendant is Bran, or is it that this guy existed and then, like, in one timeline, Bran has seen, like, knows what's happened and has gone back in time, walked into this man to try and stop it?
I don't think it's the walking thing. I feel like it's, I don't know.
If the first man is turned into the Night King, the Night King doesn't have any, like, children. So that means that the first man would have had to have children at that point for Bran to be a descendant.
I just think, I don't know, the way I saw it was just him, so like him walking into different time periods at different times. But then obviously that wouldn't make sense because,
But yeah, so I think going with that, so Joe's argument is that he's physically there.
Yeah, and he can only walk
and
people he's in contact with or something.
Yeah, so like he like shouts out to Ned Stark and that makes him stop and turn around. But he could have just been turning around because he had like a crick in his neck.
Can I ask you a question? So you remember in season 1 when Ned's about to die and he's like looking for Arya in the carrier's pancake, and then he just like looks up
and sees her.
and sees. Did he see Arya?
I'm sure he saw it.
I don't know. He doesn't see Arya.
And he sees something, and then
is this a crow's theory?
No, it's not the crow theory. But then he just like looks somewhere, like look up, and then he calms down, and then he's like starts praying or whatever, and then he gets his head chopped off. So do you think that maybe Bran? Maybe he's seen Bran, or maybe like Bran like has walked himself out to that point to see the point where his dad got his head chopped off or something like that.
Don't know.
Could be.
Might have to rewatch it.
Wasn't there a theory that because after Ned's head gets chopped off, you see a raven fly away?
Yeah.
And there's a theory that Ned walked into that raven before.
I hope that's true. I hope that's true.
He's just gonna come back when everyone's dead. There's a raven. Raven's just gonna sort.
I'm slating the writing, yeah. But if Ned Stark comes back to life, then
It's goat.
it's go. I will not. If Ned
It'll
Stark
be
comes
in a
back to life
different
at
body.
any point, I don't care. No, it has to be Sean Bean. If Sean Bean comes back at any point, then I will not cuss this shit.
It'll be like his decomposed body.
That'll do.
It's just a head in a basket. We'll come back to life.
That will do. I need Sean Bean back in my life. Show it to shit as soon as he left.
I'm still trying to get my head around this Bran theory. Is making my head ache.
Because
Because-
I need to watch the video again.
Doesn't-
The video made it make sense.
It doesn't. Also, sorry, I'm jumping ahead, but also, isn't the thing about the wall being built? Isn't that by a Bran?
Bran the Builder.
Bran the Builder.
Everyone was speculating like, oh my god, that's Bran with no legs. Bran.
No, because there's
Sorry,
a thing about
flake nugget.
about his nanny or something who's telling him a story, and she used to get the brands mixed up or something. And they were saying that was some sort of
Yeah.
they're the same person. Blah, blah.
I reckon George just got confused when he was writing his book, and he was like,
It would be cool.
Yeah,
though,
it was this guy.
If it did turn out that he was like Bran the Builder and all the other brands, well, maybe not all of them, but some of the other brands in history, that'd be pretty cool.
So does Bran? If Bran is the
Why
first,
no name?
if Bran is the first man who then becomes the Night King, then surely the fact that Bran So we're assuming Bran's gone back and become this person to try and stop it, but it wouldn't have happened in the first place if he wasn't in that situation.
Self-fulfilling paradox, mate. I don't know.
What do you mean? Because he's not.
So if
He's
Bran's
not
like,
himself when he goes back though. As in, he is himself, but he's not his past self.
I don't get it.
Time travel, man.
So like, if the guy getting stabbed by the dragon glass or fiberglass or whatever, if that is Bran,
Yeah.
I mean, Bran can still go back and see that,
Yeah.
right? As in, he wouldn't go back and be that guy getting stabbed. Because he went back and saw it.
He could walk into him though, because
But
he
why
walked
would he
into
want to
her
do that?
to move out the way. I don't know.
Don't know.
That's what I don't
Yeah,
get.
but he could just be like, "Oi, don't stab that man," and knock her out of the club.
What I don't get is, has all of this happened and Bran is going back to try and stop it from happening?
I think.
Or is it just happened to Bran?
I think it's that first one you said, but because it's a self-fulfilling paradox, then these things are just some of these things. I think some of these things are just like cemented in time, so they're gonna happen regardless of whatever he does.
Because if Bran never existed and Bran is the first man, then these things would never happen, would it? None of this would happen.
This is why you guys need to watch The Flash, because they go through. There are certain fixed points in time that can't be changed regardless of. I don't know how it works. This is obviously time travel's not real, so well, as far as I know. But there's certain fixed points in time that you can't change no matter what you do, because the ink is dry, allegedly. So.
As in the writer's ink is dry.
Well,
I can't finish this.
And
place.
there's no rubber.
I'm not convinced that he's going to be the Night King. I think that he's just gone back in time and seen those events, because at that moment in time, that's what's So with the whole Hodor thing, he's just gone back because he's with Hodor. With the Night King, he's gone back because, well, the Night King's a huge fucking threat to him at the moment. I mean, he could see anything, right? He can go back and see anything. This is my opinion.
Yeah.
Joe obviously thinks that he's only going to go back and see parts of his own life.
He can't, because he wasn't there when Hodor became Hodor.
But
he wasn't there when
he was saying that he can only walk to see people he's been in contact with. So Hodor was there, his dad was there. So I think that's true.
Yeah, but he's in contact with people later in their lives. He's going back to before he was even born.
True.
I mean, whatever. I mean, this is.
We don't know the rules, do we?
Well, listeners, what do you think? Have you got any clarity on the Bran theory? Have you got any other theories for us? We are YSC Podcast 17.
What do you rate that last episode, by the way? Episode 6.
Episode 6. I watched it in such shit depth. Some guy was coughing whilst I was watching it. He was like, the quality was alright, but the sound quality was. It was the other way around. Sound quality was alright, except some guy was kept coughing.
The link I watched was alright. Did you watch the thing?
Yeah.
It was decent.
I should rewatch it then. Probably, I don't know, not the best of this season.
I'll give it a 7.
Okay, so yes, lots of Game of Thrones chat there. This is just a little Game of Thrones special. Episode 26, we'll be talking about Hitman's Bodyguard,
And
Atomic
the finale.
Blonde, the finale, which we're going to stay up for because it's back holiday.
Yeah, boy.
So big sleepover.
Yeah, boy. What else is coming out? Hoping to see Annabelle.
Screen Unseen.
Screen Unseen, which we're seeing tonight.
Hopefully you can watch Detroit.
Yes, you've already seen that. We could talk about that in spoilerific detail. And I also saw Wreck-It Ralph, which was so good. So I want to talk
first
about
one?
that.
Or is this, there's a
No,
second
this is
one?
the first one. I can do that for the from the archive because we haven't done that for a while.
Wreck-It Ralph.
Oh, yeah. Forgot about that.
Yeah, I know. So also we had some questions that were posed last week, so we will try and remember what they are and then answer them. I think was one to do video games. I can't remember. Anyway,
I think
so
that's in the chat.
get in touch with us about Game of Thrones or anything else in particular. So we're at YSC Podcast 17 on Twitter or Facebook, SoundCloud, iTunes, and Instagram at Your Average Critics. So thank you for listening and tune in next week.
Peace. Action.